Okay, so let's talk creativity then. That's our final and seventh learning outcome of the chapter. Creativity leads to new ideas that are useful. So it could be new ideas, products, or processes that are useful. So remember the word, they have to be new and useful. Why? Because let's say you come up with an aerosol for toothpaste. So toothpaste in a form of aerosol, and how can you put that in your mouth? It's new, but it's not useful because it'll make a lot of mess. So we're coming up with useful processes, products, and ideas. And a lot of things will feed into that creativity. Is person factors relate to an individual and situation factors around you in your workplace, which lead to certain creative behaviors and finally outcomes at the end. So let's take a look at what these creative behaviors are. So we want people to be creative in terms of problem formulation and definition. So if we are making sure that, okay, we're defining our problem correctly, we face, let's say, declining sales, we want people to be creative. Okay, why are sales declining? Okay, is it a problem of, let's say, people don't like the product? Is a problem of advertising? Okay, how can we deal with that situation? And then we go out and gather information and be as creative as possible. We do surveys, we interact with people, we show them, let's say, new products. So, and then we generate ideas from it. Okay, so let's sit down and generate, let's say, new product ideas. Let's give, let's say, if we're talking about toys, let's give kids these toys and see how they, like these toys or not. We don't shoot ideas just because they are down ideas, just because they were different. Okay, so one of the things I remember reading about Frozen, and Frozen is a cartoon for kids, so if you're familiar with it, is that it initially started out as a movie, as a love story between the prince and a princess, and this is the classical thing that we see in cartoons, but then as they moved forward, they wanted to generate new ideas, and the movie came about more of love and friendship between sisters. And this was something that was not thought of before. Okay? So creativity, these are the kind of the behaviors that we want from a creative process. And what drives this creative then outcome effectiveness, or this process over here, is a variety of different factors related to the person, like they have an outgoing personality, they are more conscientious, they are also more positive, they have high self-efficacy, and they're highly motivated. Other situation factors around you that can create that creativity is that there is high commitment from your workplace to that creativity. So we, in our let's say in higher education, people sometimes don't want to try new teaching approaches because they might be penalized for it. They might get low teaching evaluations. So the environment around you has to really support maybe you failing. So they might say, okay, we can give you a break in one of those courses if you get a really bad teaching evaluation, but you have to really show us ahead of time what kind of creative outcomes you do want to create. So there's high commitment to this kind of creativity over here. How can we then increase creativity? Okay, make sure that we encourage these creative performance behaviors. We create an environment which encourages risk taking. As I said, we encourage people to try new teaching approaches, and if it doesn't work, then that's fine. And also developing a peer environment. We also focus, for example, in this interactive teaching task force in trying to have an open dialogue between that task force and anyone who needed help. So that would increase creativity, and be willing to give feedback in case people are not willing to do things, and of course hiring people with these personal characteristics. Okay, so that wraps up creativity. So all of the following are drivers of creative performance behavior, except Meaningful work, motivation, being good at brainstorming, positive relationship with supervisor or person. You said C, then you are correct. The other ones are more important when it comes to driving creative